to Atreyu News Thursday morning. We have some more stuff from Red State Water. Breaking. Trump just set Twitter on fire with a major tweet storm. Look what he said. Thursday morning, President Trump took to Twitter to call out both Senators Richard Blumenthal and John McCain. It is really awesome how the mainstream media would try and portray Donald Trump as a liar and like everything negative. However, his Twitter account gives him the power to say what actually he means to the entire world. Senator Richard Blumenthal, who never fought in Vietnam when he said for years he had, which obviously was a major lie, now misrepresents what Judge Grosick told him, his Supreme Court pick. No surprise there. Chris Cumio, in his interview with Senator Blumenthal, never asked him about his long-term lie about his brave service in Vietnam. Fake news. Senator McCain should not be talking about the success or failure of a mission to the media. Only emboldens the enemy. He's been losing so long, he doesn't know how to win anymore. Just look at the mess our country is in. Bogged down in conflict all over the place. Our hero. Yeah, right, eh? John McCain. It is funny how these people get glorified when the public hates them. Most of the people in Congress and the Senate and the news, the general public cannot stand. That's why Trump won. So how exciting is that, eh? Trump just like a firing squad every single day. It's awesome. Breaking. Twitter's stock price just crashed. Check out why. Twitter shares tumble on earnings miss, terrible guidance, declining U.S. sales, and flat U.S. user base from Zero Hedge. So much for the much anticipated Twitter president bounce. With Twitter shares surging in recent days ahead of earnings, as analysts and traders expect the Trump chronic use of Twitter would lead to a substantial bounce in years. Moments ago, Jack Dorsey company disappointed again after it missed revenue, with U.S. revenue posting at 7% decline, despite posting a modest EBS beat as monthly users come into line with expectations but failed to impress. While U.S. user growth remained flat, worse, the company provided guidance that was dreadful, far below expectations, and was half of what the company generated 1 year prior. So there's the quarterly details. That doesn't really seem right, though. It would appear Trump's millions of users that have jumped on board with him, I think he has like 20 or 23 million people, 23 million users. I can't actually see how they'd be losing money. Now this I find quite fascinating, because the hypocrisy of the left runs so deep and is so blatant and obvious. Stuff like this, I'm glad it comes to the surface for people to see really how racist the left actually is. They would claim that the Republicans are the racists, when they are the racists and always have been the racists. Party of the Ku Klux Klan, anybody remember? Senator Tim Scott reads racist tweets from liberals criticizing his endorsement of Jeff Sessions.
I go on to read from folks who wanted to share their opinions about my endorsing Jeff Sessions. You are a disgrace to the black race. Anthony Burnham at Burnham R says, you are an Uncle Tom Scott. You're for Sessions. How does a black man turn on his own? Anthony B. from at Political Art says, Senator Tim Scott is not an Uncle Tom. He doesn't have a shred of honor. He's a house Negro, like the one in Django. He also writes, I guess Anthony Burnham has been fairly active recently on my Twitter feed, I'm a complete horror. A black man who's a racist against black people, a big Uncle Tom piece of fertilizer. Think for yourselves. You're a disgrace to your race. I left out all the ones that use the N-word. Just felt like that would not be appropriate. You see, what I'm surprised by, just a smidgen, is that the liberal left that speaks and desires for all of us to be tolerant do not want to be tolerant of anyone that disagrees with where they are coming from. So the definition of tolerance isn't that all Americans experience a high level of tolerance. It's that all Americans who agree with them experiences this so-called tolerance. Go on.
Well, isn't that fascinating, eh? The more I've studied this, the more I come to realize the actual fact behind it. And when someone is stomping around, screaming white supremacy, or if someone walks around and screams, I have a lot of money, I got a lot of money, or someone walks around and tells anybody that they have lots of something, typically it's the opposite. So if these people are walking around and saying white supremacy, it's actually because they're black racists and they don't want to see anything white succeed. As long as there's power, it can't be white. And if it is, it's white supremacy. Mainly because they're losers. People that lose want others to lose. They hate the winners, and much of the time they hate themselves. The person who is undesirable will always, not always, but they hate the jock. Like in high school, the nerd hates the jock. Envy and jealousy destroy everything. And jealousy is one thing, but I notice with some of these so-called tolerant left, they would call someone something that they themselves are. Human psychology is quite fascinating when you really look down at it, but unfortunately for us, these people are just, the people on the left, a lot of them, large percentage of them, are socialists and communists, and all they want is anarchy and death from what I could tell.